I'm fine. Sorry, I'm just finding it a little bit hard to concentrate, Joe.
Oh, look, I've got the talking stick now, so I will ask the next question.
Initially, it was definitely a business decision. It was like, there's a gap in the market. It is like a female product that is gross to buy and probably the only one out there. Like, you think of skincare, anything else, and it was nice buying experience. And so there was a huge gap in the market. It was a surprise how much people were saying, you know, we're changing their lives and this and that. And the picture just became so much bigger so quickly.
If we look at partnered sex, 39% of women will orgasm always or usually, compared to 91% of men. If you compare that to the lesbians, they know what's up. So they are organised. They are orgasming.
You're going to get cancelled, man. You are going to get cancelled.
Society has told us to be weird and cagey about this topic. It's not your fault, and actually the more you unpack, even though you might still have some hang-ups for whatever reason, it's not your fault, and nothing bad comes from talking about more pleasure and getting off more.
Hey team, this week we talked to Viv Conway and Joe Cummins from The Girls Get Off.
The girls have built one of New Zealand's most successful and entertaining sex toy businesses. They are masters of marketing, capturing and holding attention, and have expanded the business out through Australia.
They've got a huge social media following. We're back in the world of sex, and there's some questionable material and huge laughs in this episode.
Yeah, a content warning, this is not suitable for all ears. There's adult themes and lots of fun, but just be mindful of who's listening.
This episode was brought to you by the TAB. Download the app today and get your bet on.
Viv Conway, Joe Cummins, welcome to Between Two Beers.
Hi, thanks for having us.
You excited?
Oh, we're so excited. Well, Joe's asking for her anti-anxiety meds today, so I don't know if she's excited, but I am.
I think we're all feeling a little bit that way. I asked Shay yesterday how far back his relationship with you went, Viv, and he said you'd been in each other's DMs, which is always a dangerous place to be.
Red flag.
But Shay said you caught his attention when he saw your head in a bukkake box, and I thought that might be an interesting place to start, Shay.
Of course, from LinkedIn.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, bukkake box on LinkedIn.
Yeah, thank you. So Di Foster is a big fan of yours, of the Girls Get Off brand, and I think you were in Hamilton last year at some point.
Christchurch.
No, you were here in Hamilton.
Oh, was it Hamilton? I'm sure I met her in Christchurch.
you were
Yeah, you met
Hamilton.
her, but you came to Hamilton.
Yeah, you were.
Yes.
You did a digital...
Marketing breakfast.
That's it. And Di was on like a rampage at that point about us and our marketing, said, you got to go and see this. And I hadn't really followed a lot of your content, but then I went down a rabbit hole about 15 minutes or so, or just of Instagram scrolling. And yeah, the bukkake kind of piqued my attention.
There'll be listeners who don't know what a bukkake box is. Jay, what is it?
I defer to the team across the table. Actually, Joe, are you across the bukkake world?
No, this was a Viv and an expo situation.
So I'd been to some trade shows overseas. This was the first B2B business-to-business trade show I'd been to. And the challenging thing that we have on Instagram is that it's really hard to take content at these trade shows because so much of the, dildos and stuff that are stuck to the walls will get us banned by Instagram. I turned the corner and I saw these, how would you explain it? Well, I found out they were bukkake boxes, but they're like almost like tent material, and they're just, you've got like a space for your head, your arms. People can they're sort of like grope tents. There were like mini portable dungeons, people that came in a flat pack people could use.
It's like a reverse glory hole.
Yeah, it's a reverse glory hole.
Oh, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, I think everyone can relate to that.
And the guy that just deadpan said, this is a bukkake box. You can put your slave in here, take to your party. I'm like, great, okay, this is amazing. But I thought, perfect for social media because Instagram's not going to know what this is. So that's why that went on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Sorry, you have somewhere to go with that?
Well, my follow-up in LinkedIn was I feel like there should be more bukkake content on social media in general.
Very specific.
I don't think the whole of LinkedIn thinks so.
No. Shay has been doing the deep research on this one. I'm actually going to test him now. How many Girls Get Off products can you name, top of head?
There's 6 vibrators in the line. Missy is the original. Wanda. Polly. Oh, I should look at you guys. Tiff. Lulu. Hang on, I'll come back to the other one. There's 2 dildos. L.
Stop, I'm impressed.
And Dilly.
Amazing.
Dilly's the latest.
Yeah.
In the butt play section, you've got Peaches.
Yeah.
And then accessories, freak sheet, juicy, afternoon delight, after banger, and cleanies.
Say
You've
what?
gone deep.
Yeah, like I say,
I'm annoyed I haven't got that 6th vibrator. Don't tell
And-
me. Yeah, sorry.
And a pillow.
Oh, the Bumpy Cuddles pillow. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's committed to the research on this one.
I'm just a curious person. I'm just a curious person who likes to know what I'm getting into before we have guests in.
That's so
Just
good.
leave that 6th vibrator with me, and it'll pop into my head later on.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're missing. So.
Yeah. Who did you say?
Missy, Wanda,
Polly.
Polly, Dee Dee, Lulu.
You missed DD before.
Oh, did I?
there you
Yeah. And then Tiff. You said Tiff before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you missed DD.
And there's Gold Polly as well, which is just the same as Polly, but gold color.
Yeah, well done, man. Well done.
Yeah, anyway, sorry. And like different entry levels and all sorts of stuff. You can get a juicy refill if you need to.
Do you want a job?
That's what I was thinking.
Male influencer.
Yeah.
Part of the back and forth DM, I introduced a segment on our ambassador show, which was Shay Gifts Steve. And you were very, very kind enough to give us both a gift box. Some of it is in studio with us today, but some of it disappeared to various people's homes. Now, there's 3 men in the studio today, and I can tell you that 66% of the room, male-wise, have firmly, I believe, enjoyed and utilised their gifts.
Family is the word.
And I'm in the 33% who hasn't. God, I've got all flustered now.
Yeah, you have.
This is what happens. Who hasn't got fully into the range? But Steve, you've been walking around with a spring in your step when you've been coming in recently. How's old life in the Holloway household?
Yeah, we've done, this is the 3rd sort of sex episode we've done. We did a couple with Morgan Penn, and there's always that, not quite sure where you're going to go with it. But yes, look, I think a part of it is normalising female pleasure. We have introduced some of the toys into the bedroom, and they've been very well received. Yeah, not a normal place for me to be.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was going to say you're backing up straight away.
Well,
and getting
I am.
in a defensive situation.
I'm trying to be more comfortable talking about, but it's great. They've been very well received, and they're great toys.
There may be
Wanda.
a 5th kid on the way.
Not with me. Maybe with another man. Yeah, so thank you.
But it is an interesting
that's
space,
wonderful.
like the shame and stigma. Even like I've got a very conservative family who, when we did the first episode in particular with Morgan Penn, they were like, "Man, your nieces and nephews don't need to be hearing this about you," which is, I guess, where we kind of are a lot of the time in kind of culture. Like, and your product normalizing what we're doing is building a bridge for that.
Yeah, well, I guess that when you unpack it and you start to think deeply about maybe why people do feel uncomfortable or hold on to stigma around the topic, there's not really a very good reason. And when you think about it and more, you realise that nothing bad comes from talking about pleasure. Only better conversations and better sex and happier people,
When we started it, my son had just started year 9. Is that what they call it over here?
Yeah.
Year 9? Yeah. And yeah, it was about 6 months or something, and he, like, even I was worried about, well, not worried about, I just didn't think he needed to know what I was doing, you know what I mean? But then all of these GGO signs around the house. And then one day he came home from school. At first he was like, I know what you do now. It's girls get makeup off, like when he finally saw the thing. And it was like, okay, yep, we'll go with that. That's great. And then he came home from school one day and he's like, I was sitting by this kid in class and he said to me, my mum told me what your mum does. And he was mortified, wasn't he? He was, for so long, he was just like, I can't believe you've started this while I'm at school. Like, this is the worst thing a mum could ever do. And although when I say that, he's like, he didn't do it in a bad way, you know what I mean? But that was how he felt. He was like, yeah, mortified. And just last week, he asked if we could signwrite his new ute that he's got for his first car in exchange for a fuel card.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't know. So big changes there, but it's interesting with your nieces and nephews and stuff, because I was the same. But now even when he explains it to his friend, he's just like, Mum, it's just trying to normalize it. Like it's all good stuff. It's not bad and dirty. Like, and that's how he tells me, he says to his friends and everything. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the time these conversations are kind of under the covers. Like I had a conversation with Bon about coming on here. It's like, hey, do you mind like what I say? And she's like, no. And she's like, no, what are you going to say? Like, oh, it's exciting, you know? And it's like, oh, you think people might have a certain perception, but then everyone is actually doing it privately. And it's kind of like, I love that it normalizes it. Yeah. Anyway, we've got a lot to cover. We've got a bit of a direction. So I want first to give a bit of an overview of sort of where we're at current day. So Girls Get Off the business, like how long it's been going, what the numbers are, Australia, New Zealand, how many dillies we've sold. Like give us a sort of a picture of where things are at.
Yeah, in terms of units sold, I'm not sure. So currently we expanded last year, I think, to Oz. Was that last year or year before? I lose track of years. And probably pretty even markets at the moment, hey? So, and then we're just looking at pushing into the US a bit. Missy's still the number one bestseller. And gosh, probably well over 50,000 customers now.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily over 50,000 customers and just over 4 years old now. We had our 4th birthday in March.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, March.
Lockdown baby.
Lockdown baby.
Yep.
Yes.
That's exciting. We're going to tell the story of getting back to present day. We're going to start by sort of separating. So we're going to do things about you, Viv, and we're going to do things about you, Joe. We're going to bring you together. So we have been talking to friends and colleagues and customers, and we've got 10 things we've learned about Viv, and I'm going to sort of run through the list, and then you can stop us if there's anything there you need to clear up. But one has ADHD, according to her dad, Mark. It stands for always determined and hyperactively driven. Nice line from Dad. Her entrepreneurial journey started with fruit in a wheelbarrow, early days. She once ran 28-kilometre barefoot across 2 rivers through bloodied blisters and laughed the entire way. Terrible sense of direction. Once drove an uncle past Auckland Airport while following the GPS arrow in the car. She had a job as a human billboard while painted blue like an avatar.
That's an interesting one. That jumped out to me, but carry on.
No, it wasn't painted blue. I just had an orange jumpsuit.
Oh, weren't
So
painted blue.
that's someone's got light on the details there. But I did have 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Self-storage.
Is that like wobble boarding? I used to wobble board at Pizza Hut, where you'd be thrown onto the road and just a sign and kind of have to do that.
Well, no, I wore a box. I wore an orange jumpsuit box, and I had 2 arrows in my hands, and I just pointed people down the street. But I thought it was great because I got paid $15 an hour, which was a little bit more than minimum wage, and I could just listen to my AirPod or iPod the whole time. So that was a great job.
Yeah.
3 times a week. Rich.
Yeah.
Ran a business from her flat at uni and didn't tell her flatmates. Lives by the motto, work smarter, not harder. Gave a wedding speech which featured a butt plug and the bride was not prepared. The crowd was not the same after. I wanted to
the pause on that one.
Yeah. Because I imagine when you get so normalised to this being your life and then you kind of maybe cross lines that you don't even think are lines.
It gets desensitized. Yeah, we are so desensitized to it.
Well, I had been house sitting for a friend and I said to Tash, does your dog still eat stuff? She said, no, it's all sweet. So I put my suitcase on the ground nice and open. And I came home one day and their dog had chewed up one of the butt plugs that I had in there. And so I thought in the wedding speech I'd say something about their dog because it meant a lot to them. And I can't remember the words I said, but I said, Sonny ate a fan, a pair of my undies and a butt plug. But I made sure to say a butt plug just to keep it open there. So that really went down a treat.
Memorable.
Yeah.
And then this is a nice one. It's from your parents. She's an energy bomb in human form, but still deeply grounded. Funny, chaotic, brave, and at the same time, wise enough to be your dad's go-to for advice. In your parents' words, a unicorn.
Oh, they're so nice.
Yeah, they sent the best sort of prep in for this episode. They were so invested in it. It was really cool.
Pretty accurate though. How are we going with that list of 10? Joe, you're probably better placed than us to.
So accurate. Like great research. Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And, your parents are
Oh,
so
they're
great.
so nice. I mean, the funniest thing is that they've always called me ADHD. They're always right on that one. But that's been nice. And I'm just surrounded by such great people. They've said such nice things.
Yeah.
Good. Let's see how we go with you, Joe.
Oh, crap. I thought, okay.
Australian born but Kiwi by choice.
Yep.
I'm going to out your age here. I hope you don't mind.
So fine.
40.
Yes.
Mum of 2.
Yeah.
Described as a MILF.
Ooh.
Um,
Say that.
But you've referenced your eldest son, and according to my research, his friends give him shit when you call him, and they're in the background saying, "Hey, is that your mum?"
Buzz, buzz. So funny.
I'll continue. Loves animals. Currently has 2 dogs and a rabbit.
Yeah.
And on the animal theme, a friend has asked us to ask you how you got the confidence to ride a recently broken-in horse across a farm.
Oh, that's so funny. That's that anxiety meds I needed for today. Yeah, they're just like really docile. And so, yeah, I jumped on a horse that nobody had ridden before and had a great time.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, while we're with your friends, described as kind, up for anything, and always helping others, makes a mean focaccia, launched a cookie business that helped fund Girls Get Off, and then gave an 80-year-old woman GGO merch, and it was a hit amongst the octogenarians and septuagenarians.
What are they?
70 and 80-year-old fans.
Oh, didn't know those words. Cool.
And despite some wounds and setbacks, you've never lost your kindness.
Oh, that's nice.
And the last point, which we've touched on already, you're single, looking for a male between 35 to 50 who is kind, honest, emotionally mature, with a great sense of humour. Location doesn't matter. You're more than happy with long distance and having space, but you don't mind if they have their own kids, but it's a deal breaker if they want any more because you're not pushing any more out.
Yes, this is why we're on the podcast. Good lead gen, Seamus.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's quite specific.
That's quite specific.
Is that who we're looking for?
Just a good person. But I'm only, what I've realised, and like where the date my mate thing came into it, I'm only going to date off referrals from now on.
Okay.
Like, there needs to be somebody that can say, yeah, they're a good human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no more, people can just bullshit.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's
So
got to be a
we need-
referral from someone whose opinion you trust as
Yes.
well, right? It's the most important thing.
Well, yeah.
So if there was someone in the Between Two Bears universe that came into our sphere, we would be, and we vetted them, we'd be able
Yeah,
to pass them on.
sure.
Do we need to pass them on to Viv
No,
first
they
to
can go
vet
through
before?
you.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. We can do that. That's so funny. But with the long distance thing, I'm not paying for the plane tickets either. Like,
It's good to mark, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not going to be a sugar mama of any sort. So they can't be a bum if they're going to be long. You know what I mean?
Well, there's international flights into Hamilton now, and it's not too far to Rotorua as well,
Yeah.
so they can. If it is Trans-Tasman, we've got a Trans-Tasman audience as well.
Good criteria. I think that's firm but fair. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll find you someone. All right. So now we've introduced you to the audience. I want to bring us together to the GGO origin story. So like, how did you guys meet and come together, and how did this thing get off the ground?
We had previous businesses before this one. I had a social media agency with a friend, and Joe had the cookie business that you mentioned, and we met through that because we were doing some content for Joe. We'd actually seen Joe's business, Hello and Cookie, pop up on Instagram, and I think when you live in a small place like Tauranga in the Mount, you kind of know who's behind all the different businesses or accounts, and we could never figure out who this person was with this cool business. And it wasn't until she contacted us that we went around and we hung out with Joe, and we were sort of like, I don't know if she wants to be our friend, but we're going to be her friend. So it kind of started from there, and then we figured we were always sort of on the same wavelength, and had looked at different businesses that we wanted to do together, and eventually we landed on sex toys.
How does that come up in conversation?
It did initially. Conversation started after I read an article that it was the fastest growing industry in the world at the time because of lockdown. That's where it started, and I think like it really, like, when I'm honest with myself, like, yes, so much great stuff has come out of this, and we're so passionate about, like, moving the world forward in this area. But like very initially, it was definitely a business decision. You know, it was like there's a gap in the market. It is like a female product that is gross to buy and probably the only one out there. Like you think of skincare, anything else, and it was nice buying experience. You'd happily put it in your basket in the shop. And sex was just so taboo that there was none of that. You had to go to the sex store. You had to, if you wanted to buy online, like there were even porn pop-ups on the online stores at the time, you know, like it was just any direction. It was gross. And so there was a huge gap in the market. So definitely being real with myself, it was a business decision at first, but the best surprise, like in that first few months, hey, like it was a surprise how much people were saying, you know, we're changing their lives and this and that. And the picture just became so much bigger so quickly. And then it was no longer about business. You know, we had a purpose. Well, it was about business, obviously about business, but that kind of got put to the side. And we saw that we're really like helping relationships, helping people. Yeah.
Just to dig on that a little bit. So you sold your cookie business and then you've invested it all into GGO, right? Like, is that how the sort of timeline?
I wouldn't say invested it all. No, I did waste a lot of money on clothes.
But like that's like you got 2 kids and that's like not many people have that in them is what I'm trying to get at, right? Like you're backing yourself that this is something you're going to do.
Yeah. I think we always backed ourselves. Hey, like you kind of get to a stage when there's no other option that you just have to, right? Like.
But was it speaking to you, or was the cookie business, had it run its course?
So the cookie business, yeah. So I was still running the cookie business from home, and that got pretty big. We had done, our biggest order was 10,000 cookies, and like still running it out of the home kitchen that 2 kids lived in, and myself, you know, the lounge room had been taken over with just like industrial shelving and stuff. And then GGO was running out of there on top of it, like at the start. So we thought that, you know, like I would keep the cookie business for the first year, Viv would keep her business for a year, and that would pay, you know, so we don't need GGO to pay us and, you know, we could get by. And I think before we even notified people that we'd started the website on GGO, we'd done a couple of posts on social media and stuff. So we'd put the website live as like a soft launch, and we looked at it and there'd been 9 sales or something in 2 days or something. And we're like, we haven't even told people about this. And so it started to become clear very quickly with Girls Get Off that we weren't going to be able to manage both, especially out of my home, running a cookie business out of the kitchen. I don't know. I was the queen of outsourcing back then though, wasn't I? I did 1 or 2 hours work a day. Yeah.
Never got any orders confused and sent a bunch of like 6-pack
there was
of
a risk.
6-pack of dillies.
There was a risk. Yeah.
And a cookie.
Yeah. That would have been awkward. But yeah, no. So what it had to go. Yeah, cookie business had to go, but also it had run its course. I no longer had the passion for it because my passion was in GGO. Yeah.
And what about you, Viv? Like what? Because you had Ace the Gram, right? Like what was the timeline of shutting that down in GGO, and what's your story?
Yeah, so Tash and I had Ace the Gram for a few years, and we actually separated that business, and she took on photography, and she's still like a product photographer now, and I went and did account management. So we actually, at that time when we started GGO, I didn't even really have a brand name. We just had clients and I had a couple of staff, and Jo sold her. I think you made the decision within about day 3 of us starting GGO, and I thought, no, I can do this for a bit longer, and then very much also found out that was not going to be an option, so I sold that as well. So it was a bit of a juggle at the start, but it did mean that neither of us had to take much cash out of the business at the start. We did end up from the first year, but it took the pressure off.
Do you remember those initial conversations with people when you're saying this is what you're doing, and like the different reactions that you got?
one of my mentors, my initial mentors said, why on earth would you want to get into that industry? And I said, that's exactly why we need to be in this industry, because you find it so weird and gross. And the reality is that nothing bad comes from talking about pleasure. Everyone masturbates. People should do it more. A lot of fun you can have for free or with a vibrator, and good cost per use. But that reaction is exactly why this industry needed to change. So there was a few reactions. I think as well, people had probably, for me anyway, when I told them what we were going to do, I think they'd seen me do a few different ventures by now, so they sort of just put that in Viv's going to do whatever random thing she's up to next, whatever, and get on board. And maybe some people weren't so sure about it. I guess I remember some people saying, oh, really? Do you think that's going to work? And just saying, oh, well, we'll see. What about you?
I would say my whole family, is there a nicer word for prude? Or are we just going with prude?
Conservative.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Very... It took a while. I think it was about a few months down the track, maybe like 4 to 6 months, until they could see that it was starting to, take off and could see our direction. I think we knew our vision, hey? And a lot of people, all they had experienced is seedy, gross. But when people started to see our vision, for me anyway, then they started to get on board. Yeah, I think... even any of my friends, nobody was like, whoa, cool, that's awesome. Yeah.
How quickly did it start to kind of change that perception?
It was honestly not long because everybody's perception started to change pretty quick. Like, we noticed so many changes so quickly, didn't we? Just from DMs,
I think because at the time, and I guess it still is, was such a jarring thing to see a sex toy on social media. It also made people curious, and then once a few people had started trying the products, then they were really on board as ambassadors, and it would be talked about at parties, or you'd go out, or it would be as soon as we'd start drinking, we would meet people in town who would come up and say, oh my gosh, I love my Missy Minnie, and it was just the best thing ever. So I think once people, and even it was so hard to work with influencers at the very beginning, we thought that was going to be one of our main ways we were going to grow the business, and it was, but for context, we reached out to 70 influencers at the beginning. 4 said yes, 2 of whom we already knew. But with that said, because no one had seen influencers post about sex toys before, when they did, I've never seen click-through rates like that. I think with Simone Anderson, we were her best ever performing collab because it was just so different to the skincare or the clothes that people were seeing on their feeds already. So I think because it was so taboo, even though it might have been a bigger obstacle to get it going, once it did get going, that's when it sort of got more traction because it's more noticeable.
This is going back 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, you didn't see them anywhere. It was, now it's different.
Now they're in the middle of your table. And
it is wiggling around in my eyeline as we're talking as well.
It got me before.
Sorry, I missed what you said there. I was just watching Dilly just come.
It's kind of like a trance.
I know. Maybe we should just move it down there.
Oh, that's so funny.
But it is it's the proliferation, I guess, in the conversation has really progressed from that 4 years ago. Does it feel like a lifetime ago, those initial stages? Are you struggling to go back into the recesses of your mind to pull that out? I sent
Viv a message the other day. What was that about? Gosh, the other day is like 10 years ago for me. Our 69 party for 69,000 followers on Instagram, we got 69 cheeseburgers, 69 pals, and sat and had a picnic with everyone. And that came up as a memory. And we hit 169K on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago that we're at 69K. It's people say time flies. It does not fly. This feels like a lifetime ago.
I think time flies, but we've done so much and so many things have happened. And like any business, you have such big challenges and ups and downs that it feels like you've packed so much into 4 years, especially when your business is growing relatively fast or sometimes not. So it also feels like a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys have been described to us as marketing geniuses, and I'm really keen to dig into the sort of strategy from those early days. Were you thinking, build this Insta account to as many followers as we can, and that is going to be our biggest gateway? Like, are you trying to drive people to the website? Like, in that first year, like, how did you approach it?
It changed so much from the strategy we had in our head, because we just came up against brick walls of people not wanting to work with us and no paid ads and restrictions here, restrictions there, like everything. So it was just a constantly changing thing.
I think we'd been doing some, and because, we realised, no influencers are going to want to work with us, we've got to be our own channel. We started to do fun things, like from the very beginning we had confessions, where every Sunday people write in what they've been up to over the weekend, and we anonymously post those. And so that's always been something that we've done for over 4 years. And so we've done little bits and pieces like that. But when New Zealand went into that second lockdown in 2022, I think it was September, I believe I had just landed in Queenstown for a holiday away, and it was an hour after I landed, they said, we're going into lockdown for 3 days. And I remember getting on the phone to Joe, and we went, right, this engagement is going to be huge. All the other brands are going to take at least a couple of days to get onto this. Let's do a giveaway a day. So we started doing, and obviously that lockdown turned into like 10 days and a lot longer for poor Aucklanders. But we then did a giveaway a day. But on top of that, we realised, wait, we're doing, a little quiz once a week on our stories. Why are we not doing that every day? And I think that just turned into, probably working as many hours as we've ever worked before over that lockdown. But then realising that there's no reason you can't be putting out fun content on Instagram en masse. And so after that, that's when we really started to pump out content all the time, rather than just, let's do something funny today, or I've made something on Canva. It became more of like a main strategy.
And again, even this is 4 years ago, and this is what blows my mind, because now all of that stuff is so normal, right? But back then it was fresh, and that was one of our values, to keep it fresh. And I think one thing that played in our favour is that we didn't have a marketing person. So, and we're not, we've got no degree or anything like that. We've been told no rules. And so it was just anything goes, and now for the last couple of years, so many brands have just anything goes, whereas back then there were rules in place that, marketing, you had to tick boxes and stuff, and we were just like, yeah, cool, we'll chuck a costume on and...
No brand guidelines. Yeah, having worked for brands where there were brand guidelines and things had to be signed off, say, for different clients that we had, we really just had no rules. And people liked that we were us, and they also, when you're talking about something that's as taboo as sex toys, if you can make someone laugh, it kind of helps shake away those uncomfortable feelings. And then that's when you get someone sharing a picture of a sex toy or a confession with a friend that otherwise never have a conversation about masturbation with, or with a partner, or reading them together. So that worked in our favour that way too, by just creating a reason for conversation.
That COVID recipe too, so perfect for you. Terrible time, but for you guys, people home alone for weeks and months, can't contact their sexual partners, sex toys come into their periphery, let's go, right?
And the engagement on Instagram at the time was through the roof. We still haven't hit those numbers in stories, I don't think. Even though our audience is growing, wild.
Yeah, I think the first lockdown, I've got my dates wrong. First lockdown 2020 is when March 2020, when we came up with the idea. Took us a year to launch, March 2021, and then September 21 was that big break for us.
And you had some big stunts as well, like the Billboard in Tauranga, I think it was, when lockdown opened up and the whole of Auckland kind of flooded down. Have I got that right?
Yeah, that was great. That was one of our best moments.
Yeah, because Auckland had to stay in that lockdown for 3-4 months. Excuse my ignorance for the Aucklanders listening, but we knew that they were going to be released. Half of them were coming to their beach houses in Mount Maunganui, and there was a billboard right above Sisters in the Mount, which we thought that would be such a good location to have. Aucklanders are coming, so can you, spelled C-U-M-I-N-G. But we weren't allowed that site because the landowner was too conservative or something, so they ended up saying, hold on, we've actually got an even better site. It's right on the state highway. And that day, I've never seen traffic backed up like that before. And I actually think, having done quite a few billboards now, we've never done them to get an increase in sales, but that was the only time where we've actually had a little increase in sales from a billboard like that.
Yeah, that was traffic jammed on that highway for hours and hours and hours. And then I think one of the funniest things that came out of this is the complaints we got as well. So the ASA complaints, and they wrote to us, and we just pretended we didn't get it. It went to junk. And we figured we had a few days up our sleeves anyway. And then, they kept contacting us. So we asked to change the billboard. What was it?
Well, the following week was leading into Christmas, so we changed it to Santa is coming, so can you.
Oh, no. After the Aucklanders are coming one got all the complaints. We were like, we've got something to moan about. We'll give you something to moan about,
sorry.
Karen. Went into that one. And then so change that billboard to, we'll give you something to moan about.
Are you guys just workship this yourself?
Because
Are you like,
there's no marketing person.
No, it just happens. Yeah.
Like
you just like, that's perfect. Let's go.
Yeah, this was before ChatGPT as well. Like we were on fire.
It's so good though. Like it's so clean and clear and fun.
Again, no rules, hey. It was just like, and so you can just be creative as creative as what you want. Yeah.
And you start to get a bit of notoriety in a positive way, but you're invited onto like 7 Sharp and a bit of mainstream media as well. And then do you have to adjust even more to be subtle about how you are talking about your product and talking about the benefits?
Yeah, and that was such a win from them. Like, so good that they were so keen to have us on that they came up with the narrative of we were selling sandwiches and, spoke about sandwiches. It was actually quite funny. My step grandma, I think she'd be called, her daughter actually messaged me after the 7 Sharp episode. She's like, Mum just said your sandwich business is looking really good. Like, so there was people that actually thought it was sandwiches.
Just missing the subtlety of the whole segment.
I think at the start of the segment, Lucas had said, all right, because this is a 7 p.m. family-friendly show, we're not going to say what they really sell. We're just going to say sandwiches. And then right at the end, we said we sell vibrators. But that was amazing for us because it helped us get in front of an audience that we don't normally get to interact with on Instagram. Like we're so Instagram heavy, and then from that exposure, we had like one of the best emails we've ever had was from a lady. She said she was 78 and she'd heard about us from 7 Sharp. She'd lost her soulmate 5 years ago, but she'd really missed the big O, and so she was happy that she'd found our product Missy. She just couldn't wait for the look on her kids' faces when they found it in her bedside table after she passed. So that's just not the demographic we get on Instagram, but it's our favourite.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of that market? Is that a lot of your market share into that older?
It peaked after that 7 Sharp episode. It 65 plus for 3 weeks.
Oh, that was actually after we got featured in Women's Day. We had a write-up in Women's Day, and for the next 3 weeks, 65 plus age demographic was bigger than any other demographic on our website. But same on after 7 Sharp. It was just, it's just, if we can get in front of that audience, then amazing.
Did that surprise you? Like when you started out, did you think it would be for younger clients, and then did that older age group surprise
us?
Yeah.
It's been full of surprises, and that was one of them. Yeah.
I think because we had chosen Instagram as our main marketing stream, we just assumed we'd be targeting people, young women, single, who were looking for their first vibrator maybe, and that's why we chose something so non-intimidating. But we quickly found out that actually we resonate, and actually the people who buy the most from us are maybe 40, 50 plus in a relationship, want to spice things up, few young kids. And especially when we can get in front of people who are maybe 65 plus, they've really, if you're 25, you've got Instagram, TikTok, you probably have some exposure to sex and sex toys on your Instagram feed, especially now at least. But for that demographic who've really never had the conversation, it's just, again, it's starting that conversation around, wow, this actually doesn't have to be weird, it can be fun and you can be curious about it.
Yeah, I think also listening to people we're speaking to at the time as well. So, even going into it, we were thinking early 20s, like that was going to be our target audience, and we'd go out into town and people would be like, oh, girls, get off. And all the younger 20s are like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to buy your product. I really want to buy your product. And then late 30s would be like, girls get off, like, oh my gosh, I just bought one for all of my friends, you know, and we're like, okay, you're our target audience, the ones that are actually spending money. Yeah. So it's
In this game, it sort of feels like everyone's trying to build a community. And how did you go about doing that? I mean, you mentioned Instagram, but was there a Facebook group? Like, kind of everyone landed on a Facebook group at one point in time. But have you still got one? Is that still part of your strategy now?
Yeah, Girls Get Off Uncensored. And that's wild. It is such a good group, so supportive. Like, it's a no bullshit kind of group. People just get blocked if they start any crap. And it's like a girls only, and they're just so open and supportive. And it's, yeah, such a great place to be. The one standout for me in the Facebook group was the girl that posted about her butt acne. And she was embarrassed that she's like, what do you guys do with, because I don't want to do doggy and stuff like this because I've got butt acne. And I'm like, how, like, it's just so great that you found a place that you could ask that, you know. So
was there any,
what was the advice?
Sure, sorry.
The Facebook group, like, I mean, people can ask anonymous questions. I started laughing because you just reminded me of my favourite post of the Facebook group. You get everything in that group. You get everything from people who, you know, you read a post, and I've had to message friends who are social workers saying, right, what things do I need to copy and paste in the comment here because this person doesn't sound like they're in a great situation, all the way through to I'm staying at my parents' at the moment, so I'm going to have sex in the car. Does anyone have any suggested positions for a Suzuki Swift? But I think the best thing was, you know, not everyone has people in their life that they can ask these questions to, so the group means that they can get support or they can get unbiased support. But I think the time a girl had taken a picture of her vulva to check something out, but she'd accidentally uploaded it to Google Maps. It's probably one of the funniest ones. I'm approving the post going, I'm surely you've figured out how to take it down by now because it's been 24 hours. Oh, could you imagine?
Yeah. One of your contacts.
Carry on. It's good.
There's so many good like marketing. I've got a bullet point about 10 of them. We won't go through all of them, but there's a launch party in Australia, which I understand you came within sort of minutes of actually not having the product for.
This was second year, a lot of learnings. Yeah, that was the year of big learnings and humbling.
So we had our first product, which is still our bestseller, Missy, for the first 18 months. We would have liked to have released another product by, I don't know, our 12th anniversary at the latest. But because the borders were closed, it was really hard to source products from China. We thought it was, you know, out of our skill level, but it wasn't. Anyway, number of different reasons. It had taken us 18 months to launch our second toy, and people were in our DMs saying, when are you going to launch something else? When are you going to launch something else? I want something else. And so we thought, well, not only will we, you know, launch a new toy, we're going to go big and have a big launch party because we want to also sell more into Australia. So we'd booked out a big venue. We'd flown some influencers over from New Zealand. I think we might have even flown different like product buyers from different retail stores up to the Gold Coast. And it was literally down to hours beforehand that I think we'd shipped over some empty boxes just in case we didn't get the actual product, and we were just going to have to roll with empty boxes all around the place. But we ended up having
the empty boxes didn't turn up till the night before as well. The empty boxes the night before, and that was our backup plan. And then it was like hours, hey?
Yeah, and we literally almost had a product launch party without a product. and because we had so many empty boxes as well that we used as decoration, then we had to deal with the emails in the days and weeks afterwards saying, hey, I got a toy from your party, but there was no toy in it. So we ended up having to send out all these extra toys. But, you know, win some, you lose some, came together in the end, didn't it?
It's a great party.
Yeah. So how did you even get people to come to, so this is year 2 in Sydney, right? Like
on the Gold Coast.
On the Gold Coast.
Yeah, and so, that was part of the idea behind the launch party is create an event that they're going to want to come to, because nobody wants to sell up products for us. Like, nobody wants to work with us as influencers. So if everybody's coming together, it'll be something like great for content for them. And, you know, so it was kind of, there was a little bit of strategy behind it, even though it was just a big party.
And sometimes we knew if we can get these people to meet us and they realise that we're just like them, we're not weird or anything, all those preconceived ideas that people have about people who'd be running a sex toy business. If we could get them to go, actually, that was such a fun party, these guys are really cool, then there's way more likely that they would even just post the party on their stories, post the product in future if we sent them stuff. So that was sort of our play.
Yeah, and they did. But then we had a lot of unhappy people afterwards saying, there's nothing in my box. I took a box.
Did you also get unstuck in the Peaches launch where you were sending like butt stuff unsolicited to a group of people, unannounced to a group of people?
I honestly thought, this is when I thought I was a marketing genius. I was like, products called Peaches. I was like, why don't we, because I think, we'd done a couple of things. Sorry, for that TIFF launch as well. So with TIFF, we did a pre-sales without anybody seeing the product. So we blurred out the picture and we're like, TIFF is coming. They didn't know what they were buying. We did over 1,000 pre-sales of TIFF without anybody seeing what they were buying. Like nobody had seen the product.
What were they buying? What did they think they were buying?
They thought
because we hyped up that it was like, this is our second ever product. You love Missy, you're going to love this.
Without telling them what it was.
Without telling them what it was. It was all blurred.
We did also send physical letters to every single one of our previous customers. So that helped as well, although we also realised it's probably not always ideal for people getting a letter from a sex toy company. But we did make it look like a bank statement, hoping that but there were some instances where, assistants and stuff had opened the mail and then we'd had some quite emotional emails, fair enough.
So, we like doing stuff different, I guess, right? Yeah. And so that was a scenario of like, this might work, create some hype because nobody knows what it is. So the Peaches thing, again, it was like, let's create some hype. Haven't seen it done before. It can be like the cheapest PR send out in history. So we had 70-ish influencers we were sending them to. Each got 4 or 5 send outs.
Well, it was we'd also done different PR send-outs in the past, and if you're going to do a flash send-out and make it look amazing, it costs tens of thousands of dollars. So we knew that if we're going to try and launch a butt plug, even if we made the coolest, most amazing box, the chances of people posting a butt plug to their story are very low. So we knew we had to go for an alternative route.
Yeah.
Because if they're posting it to their story, they have to be endorsing it, right? They have to be saying that, I've used this is great. They can't just...
or like excited to get it or something. So anyway,
and influencers at that time received a lot of mail. So that if they're getting 5 packages a day, like there's just another package.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, we'll go incognito. It's called Peaches. Let's just dump over the next 2 weeks. Like send each of these people 5 packages relating to peaches. So like a tin of peaches, some peach lollies, peach like any product, peach tea, any product that was peach that came, and we were sending it out.
And we did it anonymously.
So it was 100% anonymous.
I could see.
And that part wouldn't have, if we left it there, it wouldn't have been as creepy. Like people would be like, this is so random. What is this? But I think we decided to add little typed notes.
Which we thought the idea was 70 people, someone will post on their story saying, who on earth sent me this? People will quickly work out, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, 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 also got them, all good. Yep. Then we can get the whole of Australia and New Zealand going, oh my gosh, watch the Peaches send outs. Who could it be?
Who is it?
Like, they're so funny.
Sounds tragic.
Yeah. Not once did it cross our mind that it would look like a serial killer letter. You know what I mean? Like somebody, hope your days as peachy as these. And looking back, we can see it. But we did, even then when somebody was creeped out by it, it was like, okay, no, other people started posting. So if you have never done a PR send out with as many people posting about their product, I tell you that, like everybody was like, another peaches, and then they're like, I got the peaches too, and I got the peaches too. It did go wild. It went to plan, apart from the fact that some hired security.
Well, that was one set of influencers hired security for their event because they thought they were being stalked. 2 other influencers called the police, so I had to spend my Saturday calling them, saying sorry, and also asking, was anyone else freaked out? Calling other people saying, I'm really sorry. Yeah. Also, there's 3 more packages coming. and did you want the butt plugs anyway or not?
Well, did it culminate in receiving the butt plug?
I mean, by the time you've sent one and then like staggered your post outs, I'm down at the post shop, anonymously sending these things. The horse had bolted. So, yeah. Some of them I hadn't sent the booty plugs out yet. I mean, most people received it really well. It was just, we'd really, bit of an oversight on how creepy that was, especially, and it was so bad. I felt terrible. I lost sleep over that.
It ended up apart from like the tins of peaches and stuff, which, hey, cheap. Every send out came to under $2, I think. It was the cheapest PR send out in history. And then we got the bill for the security guards. So that was like that was the most expensive part out of the whole PR send out. And worked, but we could have executed that a little bit.
When you explain the strategy, it sounds like really clever. Had you heard someone else doing something similar, or was this an original
We're just
idea?
Desperate, Steve. Honestly, we're just desperate. We needed to think of some other.
This is this is where you can just get as creative as you want when there are no rules, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
So whose idea is the labia costume then? Because that's another one which is an out the gate concept to me.
I don't even know whose idea that was.
One day you walked into the office saying, we need costumes.
Problem. I'm an ideas person. Yeah. What can I say? And that was, I think you spoke to my friend Sarah, and I had Sarah's daughter who likes sewing. She made the costumes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's great.
But how much, I mean, you have to do that just by brain? I don't think there's patterns, or you can't go to Pollock and Milne or anything like that.
I know. She's so creative. It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And you're out in public in those? It's not a Sevens costume, you're just out dishing stuff out?
Yeah. Yep. And then when Viv moved to Oz, she got somebody where'd you find them?
I needed another costume in Aussie. I think I'd already had one over there, and I just put it up on Airtasker, which in Australia is it's just like a gig app, I guess. And I just put up on Airtasker, look, I need someone to make me a vulva costume. Here are some pictures. And the lady who ended up making it for me insisted I come to Spotlight with her to choose the colours. I said, look, I'm honestly very creatively challenged. I don't care what you do. You'll do it way better than I can do. And she was just absolutely fizzing. She said, all I get to do is tailor people's pants. This is so great. So I'm marching around behind her. She's going, what about these for the lips? What about this for the clit? I'm like, whatever you want. I'm like, I do not mind. And so then, she was awesome.
And then I get a 2 a.m. phone call from drunk Viv, who's had her costume turn up, and she's dressed. I'm going to cry. It was the funniest night of my life. It's like in the dark. It's 2 a.m. I've been asleep, and I wake up and Viv's drunk. And she looks like a hot dog with pubes.
Yeah.
I've got a pube hat, that one, which I like.
It was a pube hat and a hot dog. I was like, this lady did not nail it. But I was, the funniest. I've got great footage of that one.
Yeah.
How long did it take to park? Because I struggle with social media stuff at the best of times, even just a straight to camera, hey, this is supported by this. How long did it take you to kind of park all that and just go all in? I've got a pube hat and I'm going as a, labia.
Jo, I think Jo in her last business would have put face-to-camera stories up 3 times ever. That's what I mean. We didn't know who was behind the account. I think I had a little bit more, podcasting and social media practice than Jo. But honestly, I don't think anyone could have prepared it. We weren't prepared for how much content we were going to do with us on the account. But I think, again, we're just desperate. We don't have a choice. We've got to do it. And then you see how well it resonates with people. And it's a product where people want to know who they're buying from and they want it to feel normal. So in doing that, we've got to kind of put our dignity on the line sometimes.
I think my strategy is, though, just do it, and I don't want to see it. I'm like, I just do it.
Turn the comments off.
Or just no one ever cares as much as you do. You might say things on the podcast and go,
have like a bit of a vulnerability hangover and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe people are going to hear that, and like literally no one cares. They just no one notices. It's
like when
all
I
good.
said, and male orgasm feels like a golf ball coming out of a hose pipe.
People cared about that.
Yeah, people don't forget. Some people don't forget. But, you know, here we are.
I want to hone in a little bit on Instagram. It seems like you're 171,000 followers, like killer content. How are you strategizing now, current day, about, is there more of a thought process to what you're doing or what you're building towards, or is it just more of the same, entertain, the Sunday sort of confessionals? And
There was a time where we realised like, oh, we actually are paying for staff members just to entertain our current audience, because we had no reach, because like our account had a ban on it, so it couldn't even reach new people. And yes, the strategy has definitely changed, because, you know, you need to create sales as well, not just entertain the already existing audience.
Yeah, we're e-commerce, so web traffic is really what matters from any kind of social media channels. But then I think we understand who our customer is, what they struggle with. So, for example, our audience wants to feel more confident in the bedroom. They want to, you know, feel more comfortable about the topic, be a part of the community, but also feel more comfortable in the bedroom. So that's why you'll see things like tips and so on that will go quite well on socials and bring in the right kind of people. Mm-hmm. So there is a bit of a strategy, but also things change so much. You can't, like, sometimes a video might go well and you're like, all right, we'll go off in this direction. Like, I think sometimes people ask if we schedule content, and yes, I might meet up with the, you know, girl who edits once a week and we'll film stuff together, but it's never that too far in advance, because there's so many things that happen on the fly too, which you can speak to, or things that are happening in the news. I also find that doing the DMs is quite good too, because then you can leverage that for content as well, because you know what people are asking, or different feedback.
That was the playground that I'm super interested in. Is what do the DMs look like? Because I can be pesty at the best of times, but I, like, do you attract a level of pest, or is it mostly supportive community?
There is a level of pest.
Sometimes, like, I mean, there's only been a few unsolicited dick pics over the years, less than you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's just a handful of names that you see come into it, and you're like,
interesting choice of words.
If ever people are too much, like there was someone once where we were doing Date My Mate, a segment for Jo to find the love of her life, and there was someone who was just a bit intense in the DMs. I said, hey, love the support and stuff, that's all good, but like she's not interested, so can we like leave this here? That's all good. I don't want to have to block you, and then all good, easy. So there's not really too much like ongoing pesty stuff. There's the odd random one, but it's fine.
Are people like excited to celebrate their success with you? You know, like, is there? I imagine
we get details. We get all the details.
Photos as well.
Time in years.
Yeah. Photos of wet patches is a regular.
Yeah,
that's your trophy. Yeah.
Wet patches is always a good one with the toys lined up. You know, that's always.
Well,
good.
if you got the freak sheet, you won't have the wet patch, will you?
There you go.
You can tumble dry that. It's all good. It's all good stuff.
I had some questions about like what work days look like, and Shay's put in the notes YouTube hand job tutorials.
That's very direct. I heard you reference that before.
What are you doing at work today?
I'm just working on the two hand.
Yeah, there was a period where these videos were going really well of me giving these bottles different hand jobs. So then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how many techniques can there be? So I'm on YouTube looking up lingam massage techniques and, you know, finding out all these different things, whether that be at home with my housemate. They're also trying to work from home, or in the shared office that I'm in. It doesn't really matter. But there's always an element of research that goes into it, isn't there?
Yeah. I often use a friend's house for, if I need to film anything, I get out of filming, as you can tell, quite often. But if anything I need to do, I'll use their house for better lighting. And, you know, nobody's home, sweet. And I like pulled a velvet chair up that they happen to have there, and I'm filming for the couples box. I've got like the stand there. I'm handcuffed. I've got like something, and her husband walks in. Hi. But yeah, no, days are pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then within the business, do you have like defined like roles, like kind of admin tasks that you separate, or is it all creative? What does under the hood look like in terms of the business?
We're lucky in that we're polar opposites. We we are actually so different, and our skills, and what we're good at is different. So it's kind of like, that's up Viv's alley, that's up Joe's,
That's a good one.
We're there again.
Yeah. So
Is there a
Do you want to know what they are?
well, I'm curious
okay.
because obviously we've got a working dynamic,
yes.
so it's a little bit kind of compare and contrast. But we're quite the same, very different skill sets, very different areas of interest, different alleyways. But yeah, do you have a CEO structure? What does that work? Real boring business chat, but I'm in there.
Business guy now.
Yeah.
I think at the start, and I'm sure you guys can relate, there's probably a lot of crossover, you're doing a little bit of everything. But then as the business grows, I think my day-to-day would more look like social media, unofficial IT support and random things like that. And then also just anything digitally in that space. I mean, there ends up being random things. At the moment, I'm working on the AI chatbot for our customer service. That might be a little thing, working on that with the VA that we've got. It just sort of depends. But also at the same time being aware of the marketing is the number one, because that's where the sales are. So try not to get too in the details sometimes if it means pulling me away from that. But you're more logistics and product design and so on.
Yeah, I've got more the creative side of things, and then logistics. Yeah, making sure we've got product to sell.
You're not in the warehouse with a high vis on and packing all the boxes? We've gone way past that stage, I'm imagining?
Yeah. No, we use a 3PL centre, so we're just both remote from home.
Third-party logistics, bro.
That's right, business guy, yeah. I'd read that you, and this might have been a few years back, but you had a paid orgasm break in your work weeks, a no break. And it's something that I was looking to implement here at Between Two Beers headquarters. We've got a little room next door.
He's actually already implemented it. He's just trying to formalise it.
How did that work for you guys?
That was to try and spice up our applicants for one of our jobs we were looking for. I think we were getting a new customer service person, and we thought we'll throw that in there on the
I think
ad on Seek.
Yeah, well, it's a good way. It's a good way of getting reach, right? Because not everybody sees the stuff. So, we want to reach people for jobs and everything that might not actually be looking for jobs. So add a little bit of spice into it and I'll get further.
You made a point before about preconceived ideas about business owners in the sex toy industry. Do you encounter that still on a day-to-day basis?
Nobody expects us to say what we say when they ask us, what do we do? Nobody. And so I enjoy the reactions to that, I think. I've been introduced to someone before on a night out, late 60s, and they have said, "You don't look like a whore."
Oh, that's what I was kind of driving at. Is I imagine that stigma would be there for both of you.
Yeah, and so some people open their mouth and actually say it, like this guy. But I think this is, a lot of people do have a preconceived idea of what somebody selling sex toys would look like.
But then I think that, again, that comes back to that's the whole point, when someone might be a little bit surprised or doesn't know what to say. I mean, normally when we say, we've got a business, we sell sex toys, people then follow up with a funny sex toy story they've had, and that's always good. But if they do look a bit lost, and then you can say, well, that's the whole point. The whole point is we're making it normal, and it shouldn't be some dark, weird thing that happens over in the corner that you never experience.
Because you've encountered challenges with banks and with, with institutions, right? In terms of just day-to-day business tools that you need to have, which seems crazy, but I guess there are those preconceived ideas about what it is you do and how you do it.
Yeah, we've now got a Slack channel because it happens so often. We put all the obstacles we've come across that other businesses wouldn't otherwise face, and we put them there just for record keeping. Otherwise, we'll forget. So I think what you might be referring to is last year we went to open another bank account, and we went through the process to open that account. And for whatever reason, both electronically but then in person, they'd flagged us. And I can't remember the language they used, but it was something to the effect of, it's against our terms of service or against our values, our company values. And so we then obviously went to the media. We'll take any opportunity for a bit of media. But because A, it gets us in front of an audience who doesn't normally get to talk about this, but B, it also puts the pressure on people to reassess, oh, hold on, what's going on here? So in the case of, it's two gals with a small New Zealand business going up against BNZ, and, not everyone's a fan of the banks all the time, that worked very much in our favour. And we ended up not only getting the bank account, but the CEO said he'd be in some content. We still haven't taken him up on that offer yet. But that's a perfect example. I mean, we've tried to ship product from Melbourne to Auckland before, and they'd said, oh, we can't take that. It's classed as obscene material like pornography, so they wouldn't even ship our product. We always find a solution. It's always fine. We had the insurance lately who were denying us, but it always ends in a better outcome. It often just means a little bit more admin and sometimes a little bit of press, which never hurts.
Yeah, because you use it for content, right? Like you use it to your advantage. It's almost better that it works that way. Yeah, okay, and then we've got something to...
I also think we've definitely inspired a few policy changes, like even other companies will start looking at their policies and everything when stuff like this comes to light. So it's all kind of a bigger picture as well,
The latest one was the Super Gold Card, who we thought that would be good to get on their website. And they initially accepted us and I went, yes, here we go. And I went in to change the cover image and then it was gone. And I got an email saying, no, sorry, it's been declined. And I'm like, no, someone's realised what they've done. And yes, that was a bit of a shame. We haven't quite overcome that one yet. But, I would argue people don't just stop being horny after 65. So as we've heard from our audience and people who've read those articles.
Weirdly, I heard aged care facilities are a real
breeding ground.
Environment for activity. Have you thought about maybe a couple of targeting that area, like a Ryman Care or...
Yeah. Well, maybe we need a partnership.
Yeah. That's good.
If you're listening,
someone will take you up on it. The difference between New Zealand and Australia, like obviously Australia has the bigger market. Do you feel like how are you thinking about that? Have you kind of capped out New Zealand, or is it just like is the plan to go further international after Australia?
I think we've got really, really good brand awareness in New Zealand. The thing about moving to Aussie is that it is like starting the business again. You're not really sure how it's going to be received the same. And I think there's pros and cons to big and small places. New Zealand it's like if you had a business and only marketed to Melbourne and then stopped, the rest of the world is so big out there. But I also think from living over there, word of mouth, I think, spreads faster in New Zealand than it does Australia because you have so much crossover. Like if you find out about a sex toy on Instagram and then you go and hang out with your friends on the weekend, you're probably hanging out with the same group of friends every weekend, and so you've got more touch points. So if you found out about it, your friends found out about it, you're having a conversation, whereas having now lived in Sydney for the last few years, there's not as much of that in-person crossover. You might be doing, 10,000 different things. So I think even though it's a bigger market, it has taken a little bit more to break into because you have to start again and you don't have the awareness. But also, I think the word of mouth, I think once it gets going, and it already has started to, it will work. But I think New Zealand's word of mouth is a little bit underestimated how connected we all are.
I'm going to move into, we've got a bunch of questions from the listeners, and I think the answers are going to take us back to part of the story in some of them, but we'll start working through them if that's all right, because we had good uptake on the Instagram story. Some questions from Shay in here too. This one's from Dave.
I'll just ask my own ones, man. You don't need to read it on my behalf.
He says, what are the biggest myths about women's pleasure that men still believe and need to unlearn?
I think the biggest myth, and maybe the biggest lie we've been told, or because we've never had the conversation, is that most women can orgasm from penetration alone. When reality is, and I think because we might have had sex ed at school that talked about consent, anatomy, never really touched on pleasure. Then a lot of people have learnt this through porn that. Okay, in, out, oh my God, crazy orgasm, and then that's it. Whereas the reality is that more than 80% need like direct, constant clitoral stimulation to orgasm. Stats on the orgasm gap reflect this. So if we look at partnered sex, 39% of women will orgasm always or usually compared to 91% of men. And if you compare that to the lesbians, they know what's up. So they are organised. They are orgasming.
You're getting cancelled, man. You are going to get cancelled.
They're orgasming like 86% of the time. So what does that tell us about what we've learned about heterosexual sex? It's not that it's impossible or that women are broken or that there's something wrong or they're taking too long as they often feel. It's just that we haven't been taught to have sex properly, and probably because that we've been watching porn that is entertainment, not real life. So I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions.
And also one more, that when a guy finishes, it isn't the finish.
I've been trying to tell Shay that.
Oh, I was gonna. You stole my gag, you asshole! You got in too early.
Did you're when you're delivering that, when you're answering that, I'm like, fuck, that's so good. Like, did you ever think you'd be the spokesperson for like orgasms and sex, and like it's a crazy place to be, right? Like, it's cool, but it's...
I think for me personally, I think I've always been pretty for the gals, but I probably never articulated that until we started Girls Get Off, and I realised not only am I excited about this as a business, but also the purpose and what it means for women, because it just means that, like we say, nothing bad comes from talking about pleasure or getting off more. Like, all this means is that people are going to become more connected in their relationships, right? If they're having better sex and they can talk about it and it's not awkward, then that means people are more connected.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, next question is from Sue. What's the most creative use of one of your products that a customer has ever shared with you?
Actually, just last week, I think it was, in the confessions, and a lady used Dilly, the new suction dildo, on her fully pregnant tummy and pegged her man.
Holy hecker.
Sorry,
right?
Run that through again.
So, like, she suctioned this onto her pregnant
onto the
tummy.
belly.
Yeah. And so pegging, for those who don't know, is that when that dildo would go in the man's butt, a nos. And then someone said in the comments, because, again, I thought, perfect, that's going on the feed. Someone DM'd and said, my wife had a freshly shaved head and put it on her head and did the same thing to me. And I thought, we've got to call that unicorning.
Unicorning.
Yeah. It's a thing.
Can you imagine walking into that scene? Just like a...
I always think of the aftermath. Of like when you're lying and you're just like, did you just...
We went there.
Yeah. But always make sure you wash your product afterwards and then use a fresh condom if you are going to do butt stuff.
Yeah.
It's just important.
Nice, man.
Important detail. Got one in here from a regular listener, Mark from Tauranga. What's the difference between a dildo and a vibrator?
Yeah.
Easy.
Fair question.
Yeah, it gets a lot of people, but pretty easy difference. A vibrator has a motor, so it vibrates, and a dildo is just classified as anything for penetration, basically. So like a carrot could be a dildo.
Anything that goes inside you. See, that's not a vibrator, but if it had a vibrating motor in it, then it would be a vibrating dildo.
Right. So all vibrators can go internally.
No, not all.
No, you're doing it very wrong.
Please don't put it inside. Yeah, so all dildos can go
internally.
Inside.
Some vibrators can.
Yeah, some vibrators can.
Yeah.
Vibrators just means that it vibrates.
You just don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, have you ever lost I think this is. I've jumped down. But how many times have you had to explain that Polly Mini doesn't get lost, courtesy of Di Foster?
So often when we show people, so we used to call Missy Mini. That was the first version, Missy Mini. Now she's just called Missy. And the amount of times people have DM'd us or said to us in person at an event, I'd get that lost inside me. And we have to say, this is not for inside use, just for external use. And same with Polly, many times.
Polly's just a little bullet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Polly's a little bullet, yeah.
External
We've had a
clitoral
good
use.
story, and I don't know whether it was Polly or somebody else using a bullet, but they were sitting next to someone in emergency, like at the hospital, that was vibrating. Like they'd lost the bullet vibrator inside them, but it was still going. And so this person had to sit in the waiting room in emergency, just buzzing.
Comfortably or uncomfortably?
Well, it'd be one of those hard seats, wouldn't you? Hear that the reverb from the seat would be.
Well, it would be pretty far up, but yeah.
Yeah, we're not putting anything in our butts without a flared base or a retrieval method.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a rule for life.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that with Sam earlier.
Oh yeah, when was Sam coming into this conversation? We haven't.
He's just taking notes. He's taking a lot of notes.
Okay. Oh, you got one?
Well, I was going to take Dallas's question. What advice would you give to a bloke who's never used a toy with his partner but is curious about trying?
I think the first step is to talk about it beforehand, maybe outside of the bedroom. I think one of our favourite ways to bring up sex toys, I'm assuming maybe they've never done it before, is say something like, oh, I heard about this on a podcast. Would you be open to trying this? Or, oh, I'm being targeted by all these ads. Do you think it's a sign? Or just something that takes it off you as a person and keeps it light and easy, so there's non-judgmental, kind of get a gauge for it and then go from there, rather than people might feel a little bit intimidated if it's gifted to them straight away without a conversation or...
Yeah, I think conversations like the main thing, but find easy ways to... My tummy's just making noises. Easy ways to lead into that conversation, like, you know, blame it on something else, blame it on us, you know?
Yeah. So you were my gateway. Like, that is kind of how it happened to me, right? I'd never used one before. Like, you sent the gifts and I was like, hey, should we, is this something we'd be keen to do? And it wasn't a no, it wasn't a no. It wasn't a yes. It was like, I don't know. And then you bring it in and then it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then it sort of opens up a whole new world.
Yeah.
And the next thing, Bond's got that on her head and pegging you. Is there an off-the-shelf like starter kit that somebody could get from Girls Get Off website?
A month ago, I told Viv I was going to put one on the website, funnily enough, and I haven't done it yet. So it is on my to-do list.
By the time this podcast comes out, it'll be on there.
Yes.
Work on.
Great point.
We got one from Michelle, which is a good question. Do you think guys actually want their partners using sex toys, or do they feel threatened by them? Do you get that a lot?
I think some people absolutely feel threatened unless they've had a good conversation about it and they've formed an opinion from a good conversation they've had. Like, you never know what people's life experiences have been. But I think I like to say, when people do walk past at an expo and say, I've got a husband for that, or they feel intimidated, whether it be them or their husband, then I like to say, sex is ice cream. It's already delicious. This is like sprinkles, a different flavour. Or one I heard the other day was, if you're going to build a house, you could use manual hammer and nails, but could you just use a nail gun, Are you going to feel any less than from building the same house?
Yeah, like are you going to look back at that house and think, oh, I didn't build it by hand because I used a nail gun, No, you still built that house by hand.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good energy.
I think we've forgotten the question. And I think in terms of, do some guys feel intimidated? I've found that when they do, especially in, if it comes up in conversation or at a party or something, and you can tell one guy is unsure, all it takes is for one of his mates to go, nah, bro, they're mean. I've used one with my partner. Nah, they're all good. Get one, and he'll go, okay, cool, we're doing this now. All right. So sometimes it just needs that.
Well, that's what happened here too, because Sammy
influence.
come bounding into the studio. He's like, lads, you got to try the...
Exactly. It's social proof, and you need it from another guy sometimes.
Very specific question for Viv here.
Oh.
Ask Viv about the funeral she put on for her podcast.
From an old business, Instagram, we must have done a few hundred eps, and we thought, well, to wrap things up, we better have a bit of a celebration. So we made a cardboard little coffin, and we made everyone dress in black. We put people in charge of different things. Someone was on the reading, and then what we didn't expect was one of our friends to turn the corner half a box of pals deep in a priest outfit. So he led the proceedings, which was quite good. And it was just one of the funniest things we've ever done, I think. And you weren't there for some reason, Joe, but I've just got these videos and we're just like sniggering the whole time, cracking up as the pallbearers walked in with the coffin. It was almost a bit borderline as well. I thought one of those moments where it's like really posted on Instagram is a bit weird. But yeah, it was a good afternoon.
I'm fine. Sorry, I'm just finding it a little bit hard to concentrate, Joe.
I did notice it. I did notice, but I thought if it's making her feel comfortable, then let's just let it play. There's no judgment here, man. There's no judgment.
Double handling.
The double handling though was
But
not.
honestly, it's like, wait, it's a good fidget toy. Have a go.
Yeah.
You
know?
It's paperweight. It's paperweight for the office. Oh, look, I've got the talking stick now, so I will ask the next question. We've done that one there, haven't we? How has the average Kiwi bloke's attitude towards female pleasure changed since you launched Girls Get Off? From Katie.
Anecdotally, I think it's probably, like I mentioned earlier, what I see in person, where people have experienced a toy with their partner and actually loved it, and then they egg their friends on to give it a go. That's probably where I've seen the most difference.
Yeah. I don't know. I think men are stuck in, I don't know, it's just how we were brought up. Like I was brought up in that whole generation that, sex is taboo. It's about men finishing and everything else. But in that, I think men's egos rely on like pleasuring their partner, but they don't know what that involves. You know what I mean? So they think, okay, I'll jackhammer, finish, and then I've done a good job.
Jackhammers. I know exactly the position. Yeah.
But honestly, and they're like, oh, yeah, I've done such a good job. And this is why they're threatened by toys, because they've got their ego on this, and it's like Viv is better at words than I am.
No,
but,
you are explaining it well. It's that normalization of the friend group, I think, is kind of
that guys need to learn that your ego isn't involved. It's like
you're saying they've put the pressure on themselves to do it all.
Yeah,
and be the one source of pleasure.
And it comes back to the house building, right? Like, just are they going to feel like they didn't build the house because they used nail gun instead of a hammer? It's like, build a beautiful house.
I also think it also comes back to, we're targeting women, and if we can make women feel comfortable exploring themselves and then comfortable about talking about that and asking for what they want, like that's half of the equation as well, because you can never expect, even though a guy might feel pressure and feel like he's got to perform and, last a certain amount of time and do this, that and the other because he's seen it on TV, which is fake and it's entertainment, forget that. Actually, it comes back to you got to take responsibility for your own pleasure, figure out what you like, and then if you can communicate that and they can communicate from their end as well, then that's when you really win, because no one's a mind reader.
No, and that's one thing we do get quite a bit, and we need to correct people on it, is they say, my ex could never make me come, and it's like, well, did you communicate on what you need? Because everybody's different. No guy is going to go from one relationship to the other and the next girl's going to be the same. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be ownership in your own what you like, and communicate that to your partner.
We've
gone off topic.
No, this is very much on topic,
because the porn part is interesting, right? Like when we were growing up, it was hard to get porn, you had to record with the VHS with Sky One late at night.
Oh my gosh, when you said record, I was thinking of you with a mobile, like
No, that was later.
Recording under like a flip phone.
That was when Steve was at college in the States.
The VHS we're talking about.
VHS,
yes.
Or you had to sort of download files, and it would take sort of 30 minutes for a picture to arrive. You had to work for it. Now, I feel like the generation coming up, one website URL, and it's just like unlimited choices. So for a lot of people that don't have conversations like this, they're sort of being raised on porn, right?
Did you just accidentally say clit instead of click?
Did I? The right space for it.
Oh my gosh, I swear I heard that. Sorry, I couldn't get it straight back.
When you were talking about jackhammering, I was thinking, is that because people see that in porn and they think that's the normal way to make
it's like
love?
penis size. You know how I feel about this.
Very passionate about penis
very
size.
passionate about penis size, because you see these fucking gargantuan things on movies and you're like, oh, well, no one's going to want to jump on this old thing.
It's like anything. I personally think that there's no point in saying don't watch porn, or there's, full stop. That's just not realistic. It's not going to work. I think the better conversation, the healthier conversation to have is that it's entertainment. It's like watching a movie. You watch a rom-com. We all know that's not how it works, That's not how things pan out. That's not real life. Real life is a lot messier and different to that, and it can be anything. So the main thing is to have the conversation about how that's not real life. That's just entertainment, like a movie. So put the time into learning how to, understand people for who they are, yourself, communicate and have real life sex. I mean, there's websites out there like, Make Love Not Porn or Belisa who do a good job of particularly Make Love Not Porn who it's like real couples, it's ethical porn. So there's different options out there. But I think with like young people, the main thing, instead of trying to say, no, not at all, it's that's a movie, that's not real life.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm wondering who's having those conversations. You come from a sort of conservative family and you're doing it quietly in your bedroom and you're thinking that is real. And then who's going to tell you that actually that's not how people really have sex? That's not really how you make love.
Yeah.
I don't know where that conversation is coming from.
I was talking to Viv about this yesterday. I'm like, because, we've had feedback from bumpy cuddles and stuff like that they feel fuller and deeper in there. And I'm like, how cool would it be to like add to our vision about creating a world where size doesn't matter?
I was going to ask if you've got a smaller version of Dilly.
Well,
like a realistic one.
Not yet. Not yet.
The whole, yes. So Dilly is our only girthy toy though.
Yeah,
so we just needed a bit of range, Yeah, Dilly's got some girth.
You need more chody numbers in your
I also think on that note, it was also back to, that's a toy.
Yeah.
That's a toy.
Yeah.
Nothing can ever replace a human, and that is literally a novelty. So although there might be some comparisons, and look, we're a small business, so we can't bring out every size just yet. If you did want a toy of any size, they're all out there, but at the end of the day, it's a toy. So when people do feel, whether it's with Missy or the person who asked the question around whether guys feel intimidated, it's not actually a comparison.
And it's not about size and stuff. And this is where I think people that get onto the whole toys and adding accessories and stuff into the bedroom, people that do focus on size are missing out on so much. Like if you just focused on pleasure, size wouldn't matter. Like you can pleasure a girl using a whole lot of different things if you, how's the best way to say this? Equipped like Dilly, for instance, you know what I mean? And same for the guy, like, there's just focus on pleasure, both sides.
I think that's a good message for our audience.
On both sides, you are female focused, but is there ever a thought about going into like stuff for men?
This is Seamus's question.
That's why
you do stuff. Why do you do stuff for men?
That's why I asked it without you paraphrasing.
I think when as guys get off coming out is one of our most common FAQs. And although, look, we'll never say no to a certain partnership. I don't think we've discussed we're not the right people to lead that. I think right now the woman that we're serving, for the stats that I mentioned earlier in terms of the orgasm gap, I mentioned those are the stats for partnered, long-term relationships, and we've got the whatever percentage they were, up to 90%. What did I say before? Oh my God.
I don't know, but then you've got the stats.
Then you've got the stats of one-night stands, and it's like 4% of women are having an orgasm and 65% of men are having an orgasm. So we've got a lot of work to do in our women to get them up to speed on, how we're going to figure out about ourselves, how we're going to tell people what we like. We've got a long way to go there, so we're going to stick to our women for now. But hey, if anyone's listening, they want to partner up, then we're always open to talking. But that's our focus for now.
Is that 4% of women have an orgasm for one-night stand?
Yeah.
On their first, or the first time having sex with someone.
That makes me feel a bit better about the early days.
But lesbians at 65%.
Yep. Yeah. I just got
that's so funny. But right, I would be in that 4% because I know what I like, and
it's hard, and it's hard. I guess it is hard to communicate in that first interaction as well, right?
Yeah, totally. But that's also the conversation about real life sex.
I haven't had sober sex in like 8 years though, so I'm always drunk. So I'm more than I'm more than happy to just tell them what I want.
But like that comes back to real life. That's just real life. That's messy, and that's that's actually normal. It's like working it out and figuring it out. Like you don't come with someone's handbook, you've got to show someone the recipe.
I wasn't
That's
sure if that
profound.
cum. I wasn't sure if that cum was.
I think it was a
legit
CUM. Last one. You've built a sex positive brand in a country that's known for being a bit reserved. Has that worked for or against you? That's Ben's opinion that we are reserved too.
Look, I mean, some people are reserved, some people aren't. Like we mentioned, as soon as we were able to get some influencers to start talking about our brand, then we got so many clicks because it was so unheard of. So in some ways being, if some people were a bit reserved, it just made it all the more attention grabbing. Maybe if we'd have launched this brand in Berlin, no one would have cared. But here in New Zealand, then, that's different. So I guess it's worked in our favour. I mean, there's been situations like the banks and the insurance companies that we've talked about where maybe that's put up extra challenges. But then again, as soon as we've got press and pushed them a little bit, then people are pretty open to it. So sometimes people just need a bit of a nudge.
I reckon that's been a pretty good Q&A. I want to, just before we sort of cast our eye to the future, the billboard that Viv put together for your birthday to find a male suitor. Can we talk about that, Viv?
Well, you need to go back to the start because Joe actually started this.
Did I? Oh, the war. I started the war. So Viv's, when was that? Your birthday ages ago, 2 years ago or something. You go.
Anyway.
You were there.
When I first moved to Sydney, I went out for a lunch with some friends on a birthday, came home, and there was a knock at the door and there was a stripper there. And I knew immediately that Joe had ordered me a stripper for my birthday. Not only did the stripper say, have you got somewhere to get changed, and also have you got a chair? I'd just moved into this place and I said, no, we don't have a chair, but I've got this bedside table. So we've got the stripper in my house. His speaker was flat.
3 p.m. on a Sunday when they were sober.
Me and
cold light of day is never a good look, is it?
Me and 4 of my guy friends, so it was just the 5 of us. And then I think one of my girl mates and my sister turned up maybe 15 minutes later as he'd got changed. Then he said, my speaker's flat. And I said, that's all right, we've got a UE boom. That was flat. And my housemate goes, that's all right, we'll put YouTube on. So he puts Genuine Pony on. I am so mortified. This guy is like pulling my hair. He's throwing like water bottles on me. My sober group of friends is like, Jess was just vibrating on the seat. She was in tears. The boys are just mortified. I've never wanted to drink more in my life. And then the ads come on for YouTube. It was quite possibly the worst experience I've ever had. And the funniest part was that when Jo found out, I rang her to say, oh my God, it is so on. She said, wait, he came inside? I'd ordered a chosen
Language is important.
I'm so slow. I keep getting this like 10 seconds later.
Yeah.
I'm an out loud thinker, okay? I'm an out loud thinker. And she
I'm
goes,
still in that
4%. She goes, he wasn't supposed to come inside. He's supposed to be a strippergram and sing you happy birthday at the door.
I ordered a strippergram. So you know how they come to the door and they like sing at the door? But obviously they didn't know. Do they have strippergrams in Australia? I don't know. They didn't know what it was. He came inside.
You can ask any one of my friends about that and they will just shut down. It was just awful.
It was full on though. The photos of like her hair getting pulled in her face. Oh my gosh.
He's still got to keep his downstairs on, doesn't he?
No, he took them off.
Oh.
Took them off. Yep.
No rules.
Flung that around. Said, take all the photos you want. Yeah. It was rogue. Anyway.
This
So
might
you
not
had to retaliate.
I had to retaliate.
I got a question, but it might not make the final cut. But
Please.
is he flaccid the whole time?
Yeah, flaccid. Yeah.
Completely flaccid the whole time?
The whole time, yeah. He was also a bit sick. I thought I might get COVID too. On top of me, I'm like, oh, dear Lord. Anyway, so I thought, obviously, I've got to get Joe back. I hadn't had an idea for a while. And I think I'd seen something similar online. And I said to our designer, Hannah, we're on here. And this was like 6 months in advance. I said, just FYI, this is what we're doing for Joe's birthday. She wants to go out to Auckland for dinner and stuff. And so I've just told her, don't worry, I'll plan it. It'll be a surprise. And so I messaged our mates at Lumo and I said, look, I need a dinner spot, a drink spot, and somewhere along the way with a billboard, and we are going to figure it out. So I put Date Joe.
Lumo's
What
the
did I do?
billboard company, by the way.
Lumo's the billboard company. I said to Hannah, I want it to look quite bad. You know, I want it to look like I've done it.
They didn't pick a good photo. They did not pick a good photo.
And it said naughty 40 available and then datejoe.com. And I made a website. It was supposed to be an Instagram account. Oh, there was so much back and forth. I got banned. It was the morning of. I'm trying to create this last minute website, datejoe.com. A few photos of you. We had a bit of a bio and we got like 6,000 hits to the website.
It is like a website that would have been built in 1990s. You know what I mean? Like it is not a proper website.
It was the morning of on Canva.
Is it still live?
I was scrambling. Yeah, maybe.
Is it? Oh my gosh.
I might have taken it down. But anyway, it was the reaction on Joe's face was just,
like when
I definitely
people
got my revenge.
When people say I died, the footage of me is what that actually looks like. You know, like
Doubled over, just
yeah.
I
On
just
the
like I'm like panting because I couldn't breathe. Oh my gosh.
Outside Duck Island on Ponsonby Road.
good Hamilton company. Duck Island.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
So of the 6,000 hits to the website, did any of them turn
where are we
into
at with that?
dates?
I don't know if any of them had all their teeth. I actually.
Well, don't yuck someone's yum, Joe. You never know what.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
how are they supposed to know what you're into? Are you okay, Shane?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I did come up with a plan because Viv's just had her 30th, and I was like,
Oh, welcome to the club.
all right,
Thank you.
all right.
You're not in the club.
No, I'm out of the club. I'm way out of the club. What are we talking about? We're out of the club.
Like you're making me feel old. I forget where I was going with that. Oh, so I was like, okay, great. Anybody that slid into my DMs from that billboard, I'm going to set up speed dating for Viv on her 30th and line up everybody that slid into my DMs from the billboard
Amazing.
and let her actually date them. Would have been a good plan. Hey, too much logistics. I didn't get there. I know.
Yeah, but anyway.
So the war continues. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll keep it. Right, I just want to sort of finish by looking ahead to the future. Like, we got asked this question on a podcast recently and fumbled big time. But I'm wondering, do you have where you want to be in 5 years? Like, do you have the next year mapped out? Like, how are you approaching the future?
You've actually just called us 1 month out from our yearly planning session. So, I mean, at the moment, we know what we have planned for the next few years. We want to grow, we want to be profitable, and we've only scraped the surface of the Aussie market. We're probably, like Joe says, 50-50 revenue-wise, Aussie, New Zealand, that's still not quite enough. But we've got our sights set on, maybe it'll be the US, maybe it will be the UK next. We're not sure. We'll just figure out where the gap in the market is, I guess.
Yeah, I think also one thing that's played to our favour the whole time is that we are so flexible with changing the world. Like something comes up and we just pivot where needed to that. So even when we do plan, do we ever like stick to that? Not really. But that's been one of our strengths as well, is being able to quickly pivot to what people need at the time and stuff.
No.
Yeah. Personally, though, in 5 years' time, I want to be sitting on a couch with a cup of tea looking out at my beautiful, rural landscape and have nothing to do that day. That is my absolute goal, is to have nothing to do one day.
I like that goal.
That's a good goal.
Right? A cup of tea, sitting, and just looking out and
with
just...
dilly.
With
With a dilly. No, that would be something to do.
Stuck to the window.
Remember 5 years ago? When
To a dilly, yeah. Yeah.
we did gloss over this, but how do you maintain the friendship and the business pressures? Does that come into it, or is it quite natural between the two of you?
Very natural. I think there was one stage where we were like, do we start couple counselling as a preventative because we've heard some horror stories.
We did the Gallup's Strengths Finder a while ago, quite at the beginning, and that was actually quite funny because when Joe says we're the opposite, no, we are the opposite. I remember one of the funniest things being one of my top 5. Have you done that
I've done
Strengths
that.
Finder test before? One of the top 5 for me was like activator, which means you just get in and do it. Whereas the opposite would be deliberate. Okay, you think things through, have a bit of a plan. That was literally out of the 40, number 38 for me. And I think deliberate was one of your top 5, wasn't it? So sometimes like we just have such opposite ways of attacking something, but having separate roles is like key for that. And also it's just and at least now the power is in knowing.
The only thing we were both equally bad at is communication, which is quite funny. Like, I saw Viv's stories on Sunday. I'm like, you're in New Zealand. Like, the amount of stuff we don't communicate and we find out in a rogue way. Yeah. But again, it's when you know something about the other person, like that it's their thing, you kind of work around it. My top one is an empath.
Oh,
So
you and me
Viv's-
both.
Oh, really? That's apparently it's really rare to be top
Oh, right.
empath. Yeah. But so Viv's good at cushioning me when she knows, like, usually I don't do podcasts. You guys are lucky to have me on. But I stopped doing them and everything, like things like, and it isn't so much that, but it'd be talking, I don't know. There's things and an empath just gets drained, right? Like the little things throughout the day and you just get drained and drained and drained. Yeah, so it'll wipe me out for, the rest of the day and stuff like that. But Viv knows that. She'll be like, oh, something big will happen. She's like, yep, go chill now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
I
good.
see so many similarities between us and you. Everything, the differences and the journey, it's sort of same length of time. Just how your world is looking so different now than it was when we talked about the beginning. But it's been so cool. This has been such a fun chat. Like, I feel like we were a little bit cagey and awkward at the start for some reason. And then
it's sex,
just we've eased into it. Like, it's just been so cool and easy to talk to you guys. Shay, you look like you got something to say.
No. I was waiting on you to ask about a message for our male listeners, because our audience is predominantly male. So is there a message out there for those that are listening that might be kind of weird and cagey around this topic?
Well, I think if you are weird and cagey, I just don't think it's your fault as well. I think that like society has told us to be weird and cagey about this topic. It's not your fault. And actually, the more you unpack, even though you might still have some hang-ups for whatever reason, it's not your fault and nothing bad comes from talking about more pleasure and getting off more.
Cha-cha.
But wait, I've got one more thing. Because we talked about, who talked about icks the other day? You, Seamus.
Me?
That was me.
Yeah, no,
Well,
you talked about the icks, but we
yeah.
heard that you've only got sockets.
Yeah.
Shades. So we've got some socks for you.
Really?
Stand by.
This is
Stand by.
nice. This is really nice. We've got to move you out of the socket stage. man.
Also, sockets.
Well, I don't know.
No, but it is an ick.
It is.
Is it?
It is an ick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like no-show socks?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crew
When
socks.
When did that start?
How old are you?
43.
Why did you say join the club?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was in the. I think once. If you've been in a club, are you not in the club forever?
No.
No. We're in the 40 club
No,
now.
yeah, no,
You're in the
we're
40
all in the 40.
You've been in there for a while.
So we've actually got a pair for you each of our special edition spread legs not hate socks.
Nice.
I love
There you
that.
go.
Yeah.
That's sockets
you.
really such a bit like an ick thing.
Yeah.
Spicy socks.
Whip them out on the
There you go.
golf course.
Good
Red
girl.
legs, not hate.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. That's very kind of you.
I love that, guys. Thank you for coming and joining. Thank you for traveling over and spending time. We know how busy you guys are, so really appreciate it. And
Thank you for
Shay's-
having us.
Don't say Shay's the outro guy.
Nah, he's got something lined up.
No, I don't have anything. I don't have anything lined up. All I would say was I really like, while it's an awkward, weird subject for me to talk about personally, I think the more that we do talk about it, the less cagey people are and the less awkward people are in the bedroom. So massive ups to you guys and what you're doing and normalizing the conversation, and hopefully more people like me and my conservative family will take lessons from it. And like you said, there's no shame in talking about things and having more pleasure in your life.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us on and giving us the platform.
Cheers, team.
Amazing.